My name is Megan, and I'm a 27-year-old CEO of a fashion brand. I just started my business recently, and with a lack of staff, there's always so much to do. It's a whirlwind every day. I've had my share of failures, and with many unfamiliar tasks, I've been pulling long hours regularly. Still, since last year, things have started to pick up little by little, and I've been steadily increasing profits. I have a husband who's 2 years younger than me. His name is Mark, and we met through work and eventually started dating. My work was so busy that we rarely had time to go on dates on my days off. At most, we'd grab dinner together after work every now and then. One day, 6 months into a relationship. I'm sorry, we hardly ever get to meet.
Well, you're busy. It can't be helped, but I have an idea.
An idea?
If we get married, we don't have to make time to see each other. We can just be together every day.
What does that mean?
I want to support you forever, Megan. Will you marry me?
Out of the blue, Mark proposed to me. It had only been 6 months, so I was shocked. But I was also incredibly happy to hear him say that. My friends, family, and even my parents said only 6 months was too soon to get married. My mom, in particular, was against it. But at the time, I thought, Mark is so kind. Things will definitely work out. I'll balance work and family perfectly. Looking back now, I realize how naive I was. I never imagined it would end like that. When we first got married, Mark was incredibly kind. He was always concerned about me as I scrambled through my hectic days. When I was down because of mistakes or failures at work that made things not go as I hoped.
Megan, you'll absolutely do great. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, thanks.
As your husband, I'll support you as much as I can.
He used to encourage me with his kind words like that. When I worked late, he'd even cook dinner and wait for me. But that blissful newlywed life didn't last more than a month. At first, we started having small arguments. I told you not to leave your clothes lying around.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and if you've eaten, wash your dishes yourself.
You're the wife, so you should handle that much.
What? I was a bit taken aback because he had never spoken to me so coldly before. But I come home late from work. It'd help if you could take care of that.
Don't use work as an excuse. You're the wife, so it's your job to handle housework.
I'm sorry. I realized I'd been relying too much on Mark and neglecting household responsibilities. Mark worked too, so of course he must have been exhausted. I figured he must have been bottling up a lot of frustration, and I felt sorry about it. From then on, I decided I'd try to share the chores more evenly and not lean on him so much. But over time, Mark started helping less and less around the houses. On top of that, he began complaining every day.
Pasta again?
It's quick and easy to make.
The pasta's hard and it tastes awful. Can't you make something else?
Sorry, I didn't have time.
Your recipe repertoire is so small. You should learn how to cook better.
One day, he'd glance at the dinner I made and go out to eat instead.
Did you clean my room?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get to it.
You should have cleaned it.
You can clean your own room, you know.
And you call yourself a wife?
He began to do nothing but complain and criticize me. I'm busy with work too, so can't you put up with it? Unable to hold it in, I finally said that to Mark.
What? If you can't even handle housework, you shouldn't be working in the first place.
He suddenly started yelling and threw a cushion at me. I was so scared that I couldn't say anything back, but he kept going.
Just because you're a CO, you act all high and mighty, saying you're busy, but I work too.
I understand that, but
Don't act like you're the only one who's busy. Someone like you can't handle a job.
what?
A woman being a CO? That's impossible. You're bound to fail.
That's awful.
If you're so upset, cook better food and clean the houses properly.
Crying, I ran to the bedroom. He used to say he supported me. Was this what he really thought of me all along? Since then, I felt a rift had formed between us. Even though he'd still complain sometimes, I avoided saying anything back because I didn't want to be yelled at again. Mark started going out more on his days off and would sometimes not come home at night. Naturally, conversations between us decreased until we hardly spoke at all. Around that time, my sleep was reduced to only 3 to 4 hours a night. I'd leave for work early in the morning, come home late at night, clean, do laundry, and prepare meals for the next day. This lifestyle continued, and I became physically and mentally exhausted.
Hey, how long are you gonna keep sleeping?
Mark's voice woke me up. Panicking, I checked the clock. It was already time to leave the houses. It seemed I'd fallen asleep on the sofa from exhaustion the night before. Oh no, I'm gonna be late.
What about breakfast?
Can't you handle that yourself for once? I was flustered and accidentally spoke my true feelings.
Handle it myself? You're the one who fell asleep. Make breakfast before you leave.
He started shouting. But I really have to go now. As I headed for the door, he grabbed my arm hard. Ouch. He yanked me back and pushed me onto the sofa. What the hell are you doing?
I said make it. Do you expect me to go to work hungry?
Terrified by Mark's overwhelming anger, I worried that if I refused, the violence might escalate further. I contacted my employees to let them know I'd be late, then hurried to make his breakfast. Mark ate the freshly made meal in silence. As I quietly tried to leave the houses, he suddenly threw his plate onto the floor and yelled.
This tastes awful.
The plate shattered and food scattered across the floor.
I'm not some livestock. Stop feeding me garbage like this.
Scared out of my mind, I ran out of the houses as if fleeing. I was too afraid to come home that night. I began to doubt whether I could continue living with Mark. Lately, I hadn't been able to rest at all at home, and it was affecting my work. I almost fell asleep during meetings. That night, after working late and returning home, Mark was still awake.
Welcome back.
He rarely greeted me like that. The mess from that morning, broken plates and scattered food, had been cleaned up, and everything had been tidied away. I felt a strange uneasiness at the seemingly normal situation. Pretending nothing had happened, I finished my usual chores. As I relaxed, Mark brought me tea.
How's work going?
Oh, thanks. It's going okay, I guess. His unusually kind attitude left me bewildered. It's not perfect, but profits are stabilizing.
That's good. Keep it up. I'm heading to bed now.
I wondered if he was being kind because he regretted what happened that morning. At the time, that's all I thought about. However, by the next month, I started noticing something strange. Can we talk for a second?
What is it?
This month, your paycheck was way lower than usual. Did something happen?
Well, I changed my job.
What do you mean?
You're making money, so it's not a problem, right?
I mean, we're fine financially, but still. Once my income started stabilizing, Mark quit his job without telling me and started working part-time. Even that part-time job was inconsistent. He'd skip work whenever he felt like it, showing no motivation at all. On top of that, he began going out drinking until early morning almost every day. I realized his sudden kindness the other day wasn't because he regretted his actions. It was to confirm how much I was earning. That realization made me furious. I couldn't stand it anymore, living off someone else's money, partying all day, and not even helping with chores. Hey, what the hell are you doing?
What now?
Quitting your job without a word and going out drinking every day. Isn't that insane?
Who cares? You're making enough money.
It's not fine. You're using my money for drinking, and it costs more than our living expenses.
Then earn more.
What do you even think I am to you?
You're so noisy.
And are you cheating on me?
What? Where's that coming from?
Don't bother hiding it. I can tell.
Do you have any proof?
I didn't have solid evidence, but I had a gut feeling. For instance, he'd come home smelling of perfume or suddenly start wearing stylish clothes when going out. I don't have proof, but I can just tell.
Oh, a woman's intuition, huh?
That's right. Stop cheating and get a real job.
Shut the hell up.
Then, Mark slapped my face as hard as he could. Ouch. I fell to the floor in shock, landing on my backside. The sting on my cheek burned, and tears started streaming down my face.
Just shut up and keep working. Stop snooping around where you don't belong.
The shock of him actually hitting me left me frozen on the spot. And he started yelling insults at me.
If I'm cheating, it's because you lack any appeal as a woman.
I couldn't believe Mark had become this kind of person. I didn't feel like I could talk to anyone about him. My parents had been against our marriage from the start, and since I went against their wishes, I couldn't admit they were right. I also had too much pride to show weakness to my employees as their CEO. A few days passed and I still hadn't talked to anyone. Then I had a work trip scheduled. I was set to visit a regional factory for a few days, meaning I'd be away from home. For the first time in a while, I felt a sense of relief. The trip gave me some space from Mark. After everything recently, I was completely drained. While on the trip, I didn't have much to do outside of inspections, so I could head back to the hotel early and rest. I even visited a nearby beach and enjoyed some delicious meals. Though it was only a few days, the trip allowed me to refresh and recharge. I decided that if Mark ever got violent with me again, I'd file for divorce. For now, I resolved to stay with him a little longer. When I returned from the trip and approached our apartment building, I noticed the trash area was overflowing. Wow, so much trash. Did someone move out? Looking closer, I realized everything looked familiar. What? This is all my stuff. To my shock, all the clothes and furniture piled up at the trash area were mine. Why? What's going on? I hurried into the apartment, and there were women's shoes. It was obvious he'd brought another woman home.
So, you're back already, huh?
Whose shoes are these? And did you throw out my stuff?
I don't need you anymore. Get out.
What? Mark laughed smugly, and I felt an anger I'd never experienced before.
Guess what? I won the lottery.
The lottery?
Yeah, I only stayed with you because you had money, but now I don't need you anymore.
It turned out Mark had married me purely for financial gain.
With this money, I don't have to stay with someone like you. I can live it up.
Realizing I'd been deceived all along filled me with rage.
You can't cook, and you were a terrible wife. File the divorce papers, okay? I'll take the apartment as my compensation.
He tossed the divorce papers at me. When I looked, I saw his name and signature were already on them. All I had to do was sign and file. That's when I decided I'd make him regret betraying me. I went to my room and opened the door, only to find a woman hiding there. My room had already been redecorated with new furniture, clearly intended for her. After confirming everything, I turned to Mark. "I'll see you in court." That was all I said before storming out. I immediately contacted both my parents and his.
I told you it was too soon to get married.
"I'm sorry." My mom said so in tears, and I wished I had listened to her more. Mark's parents, also in tears, apologized repeatedly.
We're so sorry for what our foolish son has done.
I plan to take legal action against him.
That's completely understandable.
Mark's parents were always kind and liked me, so it pained me to share this news with them. After updating our families, I reached out to a lawyer I knew through work to prepare for a lawsuit against Mark for domestic violence and infidelity. The lawyer was highly skilled and had plenty of experience with cases like this, making them incredibly reliable.
It must have been tough. Leave the trial to me.
Thank you. I'm counting on you.
Let's make sure to claim the maximum compensation.
Thanks to their expertise, I won the case and was awarded a significant amount in damages. While money couldn't fully heal the pain I'd endured, it brought me some closure. A few weeks later, Mark called, seemingly surprised by the bill he'd received. I answered, ready to gloat with a sarcastic, "Serves you right." But instead, he said,
I got the bill. This is pocket change to me. It's not even a scratch. Better luck next time.
I hung up without saying a word. Pocket change? How much had he won in the lottery? Knowing my revenge hadn't fazed him made me want to cry, but I decided it was over. From now on, I would focus on my work and move on, leaving Mark and all the pain he caused behind me. A month later, Mark called me again.
I'm sorry for everything. I was wrong.
He suddenly started apologizing, completely flipping his attitude. What? After all this time?
Actually, I made a mistake about the lottery. I didn't win after all.
I couldn't help but laugh from the bottom of my heart, thinking, karma really does exist.
I've been reflecting on everything. Can't we start over?
There's no way we're starting over. Good luck working hard to pay the alimony, okay?
But how am I supposed to pay such a huge amount?
Didn't you call it pocket change?
I'm sorry, I was wrong. Could you withdraw the alimony claim? I really can't afford it.
There's no way I'm withdrawing it.
At least drop the domestic violence claim. I'm really struggling without any money.
Absolutely not. You should have realized how much pain you caused me just by looking at the amount, right?
Yeah, I get it now. But I really can't pay that kind of money.
Then why not borrow it from your affair partner?
She left me. As soon as she found out I didn't win the lottery, she took off.
Wow, that's rough. Guess she was only in it for the money, huh?
She was awful.
Look who's talking.
I've finally realized how amazing you are. Please, I'm begging you. Let's get back together.
That's another lie, right?
It's not a lie. I swear it's true. Please forgive me.
There's no way I'm forgiving you. Make sure you pay up. Bye.
Wait, hold on.
After that, he kept calling persistently, so I blocked his number. Seeing all of Mark's actions come back to bite him was incredibly satisfying. Later, I heard Mark couldn't find a job and couldn't pay the alimony. His parents ended up covering the payment, but it caused such a rift that they kicked him out of their houses. He was disowned by his family and relatives as well. I have no idea where he is or what he's doing now, but it's no longer my concern. As for me, my life is thriving. My company has grown significantly, and I've been able to hire more staff. Thanks to that, my workload has lightened, I'm getting enough sleep, and I feel healthier, both mentally and physically. Not only that, but with more time and emotional balance, I was able to find the right man and get married. Unlike Mark, my current husband remains kind no matter how much time passes. He supports me, enjoys my cooking, and even helps out with household chores. Now, I'm living a happy, fulfilling life every single day.